Hey agents, it's your host Manny. In this video we'll be discussing the Ace and Eights build. Now, most build videos, they simply go over the build and then show you some gameplay of them using the build. This video is going to be a little different. I'm going to show you the build, but then I'm going to show you how to play it in the raid to help you out. We'll go over each boss fight with Ace and Eights. I'm going to assume you have basic understanding of raid mechanics, and I'm sure there's other ways to run this with speed runs and things like this. This is going to be your basic run, a little optimized for speed, but not a lot. Hope you enjoy it. As most of you know, Ace and Eights is unfortunately locked behind the raid. So you're going to have to run the raid a half dozen to a dozen times just to get all the pieces for it. Now, any pieces that you might have destroyed or goes along with anything that you want to remake. For example, I did this with my chest because the original chest I had 2 reds and a yellow. Yellow's not an attribute you want. I'm gone with all reds and a few blues. Now, the blues I use because of low survivability. I wouldn't suggest going all reds. You'll probably get smoked real quickly and anybody hits you. So how I do it is, for my attributes, I go for headshot damage, weapon damage, damage to elites, critical hit chance, and then for blues, obviously health is what I'm looking at. Now, the reason for headshot damage first and foremost is because, as you know, with Aces and Eights, it flips 2 cards on a headshot. So flip a card by shooting an enemy with your marksman rifle, flips 2 headshots. So that's why you go for headshots, because you get 2 cards as opposed to 1. Now, if we look through this real quickly, I have a paratrooper SVD, all modded up. It does 77.4 damage. Now, ideally, you'd have Ranger, Allegro, and I believe it is in rhythm, which will allow you to recharge your, I believe I have one of them where I have in rhythm right here. Well-equipped enemy kills have 5% chance to refresh. Unfortunately, I had none of these, so I went with Ranger. So a Ranger Allegro in a rhythm is what you want for your SVD. What we want for mods on here are, we want to have the +5 damage to elites because of the scope. You need the 3.4 scope in order to get the holstered ability of Nemesis to work. Then I go with extra rounds, accuracy, and accuracy for the vertical grip and for the suppressor. For your secondary, you're going to switch between Nemesis and an AR. I do have the Eagle Bear, so I use that, but you can also use P416 if you have one too. Ranger, Allegro, and whatever else. Protected reload's often good. I have that on my pistol, is good. So those are the weapons I use. Like I said, you're going to switch from Nemesis to ARs depending on which boss you're on. For my mask, I modified damage to elites and I have some health on it. No mod slot. For my chest, we have critical hit chance. I modified with a little headshot bonus damage. I could go a little higher on that, and I might. I have a defensive protocol slot, so I went with plus health. And offensive slot, this is probably the best I have right now. Marksman rifle damage. Now it would be cool if this was AR damage or just all marksman rifle damage. For the holster, we have critical hit chance, and I modified the health. I wanted a little higher health, so I didn't die right away. Now I definitely could use a better offensive mod for this. I have plus weapon damage, headshot damage, range is irrelevant. So the first 2 are okay, but this piece could be better. Backpack, we have critical hit chance and weapon damage and some health. Now I can modify this. I don't have anything currently I want to swap out, but it's definitely something I'll look for. I have a defensive mod slot, so we went with health. Now for gloves, we have marksman rifle damage, 11%, and then 6% pistol damage. This would be good if this was AR damage. So that might be something I would look for in the future, as far as, and it could actually be modded a little higher, because you can go up to 12%, so that would be nice to have. And then for the knees, we have 7% critical hit chance. That gives us, with a mod slot of marksman rifle damage and LMG damage. Once again, if this LMG was AR, it would be better, or if it was all on marksman rifle, that'd be even the best. But I would like, since I switched back to AR, it would be nice to have a little more AR damage here. And that gives us our stats. So weapon damage 77, 445, critical hit chance is 31%. About half of what it could be. Critical hit damage is 25%. Headshot damage is 185. And then the rest of it, you get armor. Max health is 120, which is pretty good. Don't really care about armor regen, health regen. We missed this. Weapon handling. All weapon damage 13%. LMG damage pretty high. Marksman rifle damage 43%. So that gives us 56.5% marksman rifle damage. And then 42% damage to elites. One question is, how do you know when Aces and Eights proc? Well, it makes a very distinct noise. In this next clip, you'll hear that I proc a 4 of a kind, then I proc an Aces, then I proc a 4 of a kind, then I proc an aces again. Listen to the difference in the noise between when a 4 of a kind procs and when the aces procs. Aces. Aces. It is much louder than when you get a full house or a 4 of a kind proc. You don't need to look, but make sure you let your group know that it's procced so they can do their heaviest damage dealing abilities. While you're still on the tarmac before Boomer, try and get an ace and 8 ready to proc, which is basically having 2 aces, 2 eights, or some combination of 1 ace, 2 eights, or 2 eights and 1 ace. And then once you have it, switch to your AR to save it. When you enter Boomer's room, you come through door 42. And this is where I like to stay when I play aces and eights. It gives you good visibility to door 43 and 44 for the ads, and still allows you to see over where Boomer spawns from, so that once he comes out, you could trigger your the ace and 8 proc. The other reason for staying over here is that there are just too many ads that come out from the other side of the room, and your main job here is to keep ace and 8 procced for Boomer. That's what you want, for Boomer, not for the ads. Once Boomer spawns, switch back to your SVD and wait for him to go down. Then proc aces and 8s right away. Make sure to announce the proc so anyone running a bleed build can get their shots ready.
Watch out, fuck. Watch out, fuck.
Aces! That's really it for Boomer. Just keep trying to get the ace and ace proc for when Boomer goes down. Your job is not to kill ads, but to keep that proc active for when Boomer goes down. Now for Weasel, I like to go with using SVD with Nemesis for the extra headshot damage. In this run, you can see I clearly forgot to switch to my Nemesis. I still have my Eagle Bearer out. Now you'll have Nemesis just for the extra headshot damage. You're not there for the big Nemesis hits. Someone else is. You just got to keep your aces and 8s up. It should be a very quick fight. I also find it doesn't really matter if you're on A side or B side. Just make sure you keep aces and 8s up. Just like Weasel, for Buddy and Lucy, I like to use the SVD with Nemesis for the extra headshot damage. Once again, don't worry about big Nemesis hits. Just keep that ace and 8s procced. When I'm ace and 8s, I always stay on the Buddy side, and I run right into the room he comes out of, and I use the wall to block Lucy's spin so I can start hitting Buddy right away to get the aces procs. This is a pretty easy fight, but the last thing to remember, the SVD only holds 120 rounds, so you're going to burn through ammo really quickly on this fight. There's lots of just blasting away, so don't forget to refill once in a while. So now we're on to the fourth and final boss, Razorback. And this fight is just like in Boomer, where that you can only damage the boss at a certain time, so you want to get an ace and 8s proc ready. Once you have it ready, switch to your AR. I also feel like it's easier to take down the drones with an AR than the SVD. Once the grenades have been thrown into the grates, you can now switch to your SVD and proc aces and 8s. This allows your team to maximize your damage to the weak points. Shot, I'm going to take all the aces, hold on. Aces. And that's really it, guys, for Razorback, so just rinse and repeat. Try to make sure you have that ace and 8s procced and ready to go for when the weak points are exposed. Hey, I really hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, hit that like button below. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to see more content like this, then please smash the subscribe button and also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Maniarchy, where I stream Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, agents, take it easy.